All right, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Um, we had a phenomenal debate last night on D Style Boxing's The Roundtable, which took place at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure you check out D Style Boxing's channel. Make sure you subscribe to D Style Boxing's channel, and make sure you check out The Roundtable on Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So we talked about this postponement of Wilder Fury 3, and we talked about Fury's positive COVID test. And there were reports out there that Fury only received the first shot of the vaccine and never received the second shot. After Bob Arum reported that Tyson Fury and his team, everyone in his corner, his training team, were fully vaccinated, we got reports yesterday after the news of his positive test that he only received the first shot. So a lot of people are questioning whether this positive test result is legit. Did Fury need more time to prepare for Wilder, so he wanted the fight postponed? I can't even begin to think about any of that. I can't. I don't know. There's no way I can confirm or deny that. I'm not here to even argue that. If you want to believe that, then you believe that. All I have to do right now, or all I can do right now, is just have an opinion on what I know right now. What are the facts, right? So the facts are that he tested positive for COVID, right? And also, according to reports, they're saying that he only got one of the shots. Now, I don't know if that is 100% accurate, but it sounds pretty plausible, right? Because there's a lot of people in that camp that got COVID, right? So for that to happen, you have to question whether or not Fury was fully vaccinated or not. And it seems to me that the reports of him not being fully vaccinated sound pretty plausible. So a lot of people are saying even with the vaccination, there is no guarantee that he couldn't have gotten COVID, this and that. And I understand that. And then some people are saying, well, the reason why he didn't get the second shot, we don't know how far uh in advance, or how far or how many weeks ago did he get the first shot, because you have to get wait a month between first and second shots. So did he have enough time to get the second shot? And my response to that is, he had plenty of time to get both shots. I got I got both my shots in April. This guy's a multimillionaire. He probably has much better access to healthcare than I do. So there's no reason why he couldn't have gotten both shots. So the question I have is, did Tyson Fury take every precaution to ensure that he would not get COVID, that he would be responsible? Did he do everything that he possibly could to prevent himself from getting this illness, right? Because everybody knows obviously that this disease is running rampant and has run rampant and is still a threat out there. It's not, it's starting to taper down now that everyone, not everyone, but a great majority of people have gotten vaccinated, and I'm sure there's some type of herd immunity out there. But did Tyson Fury act responsibly here? Did he do everything that he could to try to prevent him from getting, this disease? Because he was out there, with Billy Joe Saunders during the Canelo fight. He was in a stadium with 73,000 people. No one was wearing masks. And if he wasn't fully vaccinated and he was out there wearing, with a large group of people without a mask on, you have to question that. That to me seems like irresponsible behavior. So there are a lot of questions to ask. Like I said, how far prior in advance did he get the first shot? Was he scheduled to get the second shot? And he just didn't have, just wasn't able to get it before he got COVID. So was there a in between the time he got the first shot and if he was scheduled to get the second shot? Obviously he wasn't fully protected. So Was it just bad luck that he got it? Okay. Did he take every precaution to protect himself from getting the virus? Right. So these are all questions that we have to ask. But my response to all that is, well, he had plenty of time to get both shots. Bob Arum said that his whole team was fully vaccinated. So it looks like Bob Arum was being disingenuous here, or possibly Fury was being disingenuous. And also possibly, maybe Fury did get the first shot and he was scheduled to get the second shot and he just blew it off. Because I know a couple people that got the first shot and they blew off the second shot because they didn't like how they felt, or, someone was in their ear talking about, we don't know how safe this virus is. They were questioning the safety of, not the virus, but questioning the safety of the vaccine. So we don't know 100% if he got the second shot, or if he didn't. We don't know the reason why he didn't. But I'm leaning towards he didn't get the second shot. I think it's pretty plausible, and it sounds accurate to me that he didn't get the second shot. And for me, that just shows that he was very irresponsible. And then also, like I said, if he wasn't fully vaccinated and he's out and about in a crowd of 73,000 people, right? Was that the right thing to do? So to me, he's going into a huge fight with a lot of money on the line. And Bob Arum has said, these guys need to protect themselves, right? They got a lot of money on the line, and they should all be fully vaccinated. They should all be trying to protect themselves, and they should all be doing everything they can to prevent themselves from getting this virus, so they don't leave money on the table and they don't lose money on the table for these big potential fights that they have down the road. Because if they don't fight, they don't get paid, right? And I understand Tyson Fury's past. Everywhere this guy goes, controversy seems to follow him. He has a history of pulling out of fights, postponing fights, not going through with rematches, and this just adds to it all. So it's hard to not look at the past and the past behavior of Fury and not be critical of him. It's almost as if it's passive aggressive behavior. He allows these things to happen on purpose. It seems like he's almost it's almost like he doesn't really care, and he's just not. It's almost like he's self-sabotaging himself. That's the word I was looking for. It's almost as if Fury self-sabotages himself. It's just classic passive-aggressive behavior, possibly, because you got this huge fight ahead of you, and you're out there in a large crowd of people, and you're not fully vaccinated, possibly. How smart is that type of behavior? It's almost as if he doesn't care. He just doesn't care about anything, right? This guy is so volatile, and nothing really matters to him. He still has never, ever defended or made a title defense of the heavyweight title. And he's a 2-time heavyweight champion, right? And he is still yet to make a title defense. It's a lot easier being the hunter as opposed to being the hunted. Some people, once they become champion, there's more pressure on them to have to hold on to the title, as opposed to seeking out the title and going after the title. There's a different mentality that comes into play when you're in those two different situations, right? Different mindset, different mind frame going in. So in my opinion, my whole assessment of the situation is, I tend to think that, yeah, Fury probably did not get the second shot, right? I tend to think that, yeah, Fury had a lot of, he had some people from the UK come over, and he's inviting these people into his camp who aren't fully vaccinated, possibly. and there's always the potential that they could bring the virus into the camp. Because, and this is just me, um, suspecting things, because the fighter that he had come into the camp, so the young featherweight that he had that came into the camp, um, what was his name? Isaac. Trying to remember his name, but it was young British featherweight that actually got it. Uh, and I suspect that because he was a young fighter or whatever, he may not have gotten the vaccine, and he could have brought in the Isaac Lowe was his name. I'm so sorry. Yeah, so Isaac Lowe uh, was in the camp, young British featherweight, and I suspect whether or not he was fully vaccinated, because a lot of the younger people have not been fully vaccinated yet, because a lot of them are lower risk for getting sick from the virus, and a lot of them, you know, are on the list, but they're pushed back. They're like the people that get it last, as opposed to the older people. So I don't know if he possibly was scheduled to get it, but I suspect, and again, this is my opinion, I suspect maybe he wasn't vaccinated, and he could have been. And this is just me, just suspecting. I'm not saying anything factual, but if you're bringing people like that into the camp, right? Young guys who probably aren't fully vaccinated, they come over, they could easily get it. You're in close proximity of each other. In close proximity of each other. You're training, you're sparring, you're close to other people, and he's in the training camp, and he's probably training alongside Tyson Fury. I'm not saying he's actually, he's probably doing a lot of the drills with Tyson Fury. They're probably in the ring together, shadow boxing. I mean, there's a great possibility when you go into camps, you see fighters, doing this. Like a couple fighters will be in the ring at the same time, shadow boxing. So if he wasn't fully vaccinated, or if he wasn't vaccinated at all, and he came over and he was in the camp, then it's quite possible that either him or someone else that came over that was in the camp could have got it, right? Could have got it and passed it on. So to me, it just looks like Fury was. It appears to me that Fury was irresponsible here. I don't think he took every precaution. And I think that he could have done more things to ensure his safety, and to ensure that and lower his risk of getting this virus. Now, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, well, getting the virus doesn't mean, getting the vaccine." I keep saying getting the virus. Getting the vaccine doesn't fully prevent you from getting the virus. Well, let's look at some statements here from the Mayo Clinic about the vaccine. It says, what are the benefits of getting a COVID vaccine? A COVID-19 vaccine might prevent you from getting COVID-19 or from becoming seriously ill or dying due to COVID-19, prevent you from spreading the COVID virus to others, add to the number of people in the community who are protected from getting COVID-19, make it harder for the disease to spread and contributing to herd immunity, prevent COVID-19 virus from spreading and replicating, which allows it to mutate and possibly become more resistant to vaccines. So the vaccines can prevent you. They're not 100% ironclad, but it says here, according to the Mayo Clinic, that they can prevent you from getting COVID-19. They can prevent you from spreading it to others, and they can limit the amount of people in the community who get COVID-19, making it harder for the disease to spread and contributing to herd immunity. So let's just be honest here. If you want to tell the truth, nothing is 100%, but I would say I feel comfortable in saying that your chances are lessened by getting the vaccine, right? So of course, if you get the vaccine, there's less of a chance that you would get COVID now, as opposed to not getting the vaccine at all. That's just my opinion, right? According to the data. I got the vaccine, and a lot of people that I know have gotten the vaccine, and they've gotten tested multiple times after getting the vaccine, and they've never got COVID after that, right? So there's always going to be outliers, but from what I've been told from medical people, that the chances of getting COVID after getting the vaccine are low. Nothing is, like I said, nothing's 100%, but you lower your risk significantly by getting the vaccine. So this isn't just happenstance here, in my opinion. This isn't just bad luck or luck of the draw. If Fury was not fully vaccinated and there were people in his camp that weren't vaccinated at all, then obviously they did not do their due diligence. They did not do everything they could have to protect themselves from getting this disease. And to me, in a situation like this, where there's a lot of money on the line, not just with this fight, but everybody involved in promoting the fight, everybody who's employed by both teams, everybody who's on the undercard, everybody, right? Everybody, you put everybody's livelihood in jeopardy, right? Because now nobody gets paid. So for me to just sit here and try to like make light of this and sweep this under the rug, because look at Deontay Wilder. According to his team, and they said that he's fully vaccinated, and I believe everybody in that camp. From what I've heard, I believe everybody in that camp is fully vaccinated. We haven't heard of any issues in that camp. So Team Wilder did do their due diligence, and it appears that Team Fury did not do theirs, right? It appears Team Fury did not do theirs. And if they're flying, like I said, if they're flying people in from the UK, and people are traveling in and they're not fully vaccinated, right? That's another thing too, right? Everybody that's coming into the camp needs to be COVID tested. And if it was me, I would not allow anyone in the camp who was not fully vaccinated. That's just the protocol that I think should have been followed. And it appears to me, and it seems to me, and again, I can't say this with 100% certainty, but the evidence, the circumstantial evidence, and the data, empirical data, suggests that not everybody in that camp was fully vaccinated, right? H Money says, Beeb, John Fury said it was a sparring partner who brought COVID into the camp. Again, yeah. So you're bringing people into the camp who aren't fully vaccinated, possibly, right? Because there's a lot of people out there who have not been vaccinated. There's still a lot of people out there that have not been vaccinated. I think in America, I think only 70%, I think 65 to 70% of the country is fully vaccinated. I think a lot of people got the first shot, but there's still some people out there that didn't get the second shot. So we're still not as far along as we should be in terms of everybody being vaccinated and protecting themselves from this virus. So to me, I have to hold Tyson Fury and his team accountable for this, right? I'm not so sure how accountable I have to hold Bob Arum for this. I'm not so sure I have to how much I want to hold Bob Arum accountable for this. He did say that everybody was vaccinated in that camp, so I don't know if they misled him. I don't know if he even as the promoter, what he should do is he should make it a requirement. Anyone who's going to be fighting needs to be fully vaccinated before he even sets up an event and starts promoting an event. In my opinion, I think what Bob Arum should do is make it a prerequisite that everybody both fighters and their teams need to be fully vaccinated before we actually sign for the fight and start promoting the event. I think that should be a prerequisite, because from my knowledge, just about all the athletes in other sports are getting vaccinated, right? All the basketball players, to my knowledge, were getting vaccinated. From other sports, hockey, basketball, just about the whole majority of those athletes are getting vaccinated. And again, you can't force someone to get vaccinated, but I think, I said that Bob Arum should make it a prerequisite. You really can't force someone legally to get vaccinated. I guess some jobs can if you're in the healthcare or whatever, but I think Bob Arum should strongly urge um, fighters fighters and their teams to get fully vaccinated, and it's still up to him to say whether or not he wants to put the event or promote the event. Like he could say, well, if you don't get fully vaccinated, then I'm not gonna. He could say that, because he's trying to protect himself and protect his company from losing money. So he could say, well, I'm not gonna put this event on unless I'm assured that everybody's vaccinated, because I don't want to stop promoting an event and stop putting money into an event and losing money because the fight's going to get postponed or even canceled due to COVID. So why am I going to put myself out there if the fighters and their teams are not taking every precaution possible to prevent that? They're trying to ensure themselves of not getting this virus. So legally, I don't think he could. I don't believe that he could make people get the vaccine, but it still is his choice whether or not he decides to put on a fight. Right? He could always say, "I don't want to. I'm not gonna promote this fight. I'm not gonna, spend all the money and promoting this fight and putting all the time and effort into promoting this fight, only for the fight to be canceled or postponed due to someone in the camp or one of the fighters getting COVID. So why would I waste my time doing this?" So it's his choice. So he could just tell them, I don't feel comfortable putting on this event, knowing that both fighters and both teams are not fully vaccinated. So that could be something that he could strongly urge. I did make a statement that he should make it a prerequisite, but I think I misspoke there. I don't. I believe I know that it's not. You can't make someone get the virus. I believe it's probably not legal. But like I said, in some instances, employers are saying that you have to get it, and if you don't get it, then we don't have to allow you to work. So I'm sure there's ways that employers can get around that whole thing. Like if you're in the healthcare field and you're on the front lines, they could say to you, well, due to the nature of this job and due to the safety of the patients that you're going to be taking care of, we believe it's a health risk if you're not vaccinated. So we reserve the right to not allow you to work. I'm sure, depending upon the job, there are some legal ramifications that are out there to state in certain occupations that you do have to be vaccinated. But I think in boxing, I think it would be hard to mandate vaccination. So in certain situations, I think they can mandate it. I think if you're in the medical field, as I said, that's one area. If you're on the front lines, I think that's one area where they could say, yeah, you have to get vaccinated. But in this instance, I'm not quite sure, and I don't believe that Bob Arum can say you have to get vaccinated. But again, he does reserve the right to not promote a fight if he feels that it's not in his best interest to do so. Right? It's definitely his choice. So he could say, well, if you guys, if these guys are not fully vaccinated, if these fighters are not fully vaccinated, their teams are not fully vaccinated, I don't want to invest my time and money in promoting this fight, knowing that it could be postponed. So even though this fight possibly is going to happen at a later date, there still was some money. People traveled and they spent money to travel over here, whether it be people, sparring partners or whatever. You have to pay sparring partners for the work. You have to pay lodging for these sparring partners, possibly. In a lot of situations, people are that come into the camp, they're fed for free. They get free lodging. Their transportation is paid for a lot of times, and they're going to be paid for their services. So there's a lot of money that has been wasted, even though you can say, well, this fight's going to happen at a later date. There's still a lot of money that was wasted, promoting the fight and paying people who were involved in the preparation for both fighters, right? So now you have to pay all these people again for a second training camp, as opposed to only having to pay these people once, right? So you have strength and conditioning coaches, you have sparring partners, you have all these people in the camp, right? That have to get paid and fed, and their lodging possibly has to be paid for or provided for. And now all that money that was put into that goes out the window, right? Gets thrown out the window. Centurion Son says, Beeb, you should do a show where you run down with the problems with boxing today and how to fix them. Well, it's a good question. It's hard. JC says, B, part of you believes there's something else going on besides COVID, injury, ticket sales. He's asking me if I believe that. I just think I can't rule out anything, right? Because we've seen crazy things happen in this sport. And it's hard for me to rule out all those things, but I want to say that that's not the case in this situation. I just don't think I just don't think I just don't think they would put themselves out there like that. I don't think they would put themselves in a situation where they would put themselves on the line like that, putting out a false diagnosis. I'm sure the repercussions of doing that and getting caught would be very would be very punitive. I don't think I think it would be very hard for them to put out information like that and have it not be true, and them not suffering negative consequences as a result of it. So I think I just have a hard time believing that they could just put that information out there and not suffer any repercussions. I don't think it's that easy for them to put information out there and have it be false like that. I still question people who say, well, I don't think he really had it, this, that, and the third, because there's several people in the camp that have got it. So it just I just don't see how they could do that. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I just don't think that they would risk being called into question and risk fraud of any kind. Because if they were to do that, then I just think that they would be open to legal ramifications if they were able to do that. I'm sure if they Team Wilder could sue them for breach, and if they're putting false information out there and they're just going out of their way to postpone. I'm almost positive that they have to produce medical documentation to the commission. And they're all being tested, right? Everyone's being tested round the clock, multiple times a week, right? Probably, possibly every day, right? So I don't think any doctor would put their medical license on the line, right? Just to say someone's positive when they're not. Because like I said, the repercussions and the ramifications of doing so, I don't think anyone would be willing to risk their medical career, or any commission, or anybody involved would be willing to risk their reputation and livelihood by putting false information out there, because you would not be able to get away with it, right? That's just my opinion. So these fighters and these athletes, and as the protocol is put out there, all these athletes are being tested regularly and round the clock, because they have to be, right? That's the protocol. That's the commission protocol. That's the protocol for for boxers right now. They have to be, and athletes too. So what people are implying is some doctor lied, right? Some doctor at a lab doctored a test result, right? Some doctor at a lab doctored a test result. That's pretty strong accusations, right? That's pretty strong accusations. So that's malpractice right there, right? A doctor could lose their medical license for doing something like that, right? So I don't I don't know how, when people want to concoct these conspiracy theories, I don't know how they envision the whole process. I don't know how they envision the whole process playing out, but I just don't believe a doctor would put his medical license and reputation on the line just to do Tyson Fury a favor, to give him some more time to prepare for this fight. I just don't think they would do it. That's just my opinion. No doctor lied. Team Fury and ESPN are just lying. Yes, but so what you're saying is he didn't get tested, and no doctor gave him the test, and all these people in the camp that were reported to test positive, they're all just lying, and they don't have to produce any evidence to prove that they have COVID. So anyone can just say they have COVID to get out of doing something and not have to provide. Again, I got COVID and I took a leave from my job, right? I had to send, human resources and my boss my tests. So if I have to send human resources and my job the test results so I could go on leave, I don't think that Tyson Fury can just say I have COVID without having to provide documentation that he actually had it. So if I have to provide actual documentation and I'm working a 9 to 5, why would Fury not have to provide the information? That's the thing. Ryan Hong is saying, could a doctor blame unintentional negligence as a cover-up for malintent? It would be hard to do so because it's not that hard. There hasn't been many false positives. It's not a situation where you get the test and the tests aren't reliable. The tests are pretty reliable. They it's not really hard to administer the test and get the results. That there's not, you either have the virus or you don't have the virus. There's no really room for margin of error with these tests. It's not like an HIV test where there's false positives. And even in the case of an HIV test, there's multiple tests that you get to confirm it, and there's an RNA test that is the final test that you would get to confirm that you have the virus. With COVID, it's not as complex as that, from my understanding. It's not that hard. There's an antibody test. These guys probably have access to the best possible tests out there. So for us to assume that a doctor is just going to put his license on the line, or for us to assume that these tests are not reliable, we're not really hearing much information out there, if any, that these tests that people are getting have been unreliable. So is the possibility there, Ryan? 100% absolutely. But in my opinion, it's highly unlikely, and in my opinion, I think it's improbable that a doctor would make a mistake in this situation. I'm not saying it's impossible, but then you would have to say, did everyone who tested positive in that camp, were all those tests inaccurate, or possibly was there a mistake made in all those tests? So it wasn't just Fury that tested positive, it was multiple people in the camp. So I got to be honest. My assessment of the whole thing is, I feel bad that Fury got the virus. I wish him and everybody in the team a quick recovery, and I hope they're all well. So I don't wish any malintent on anyone. I don't think anyone should wish any malintent on anyone, and I don't think anyone should make light of the fact that this virus is still out there and it could be potentially dangerous, right, to anyone. I got the virus back in November. I fought it off. 10 days I was back to myself pretty much. I got the vaccine. I feel great. I haven't had any ill effects. I've gotten multiple COVID tests after that, and I'm fine. But I still question, how responsible Tyson Fury was. Not only Tyson Fury, but Tyson Fury and his team throughout this whole process. In my opinion, I don't believe they were acting responsibly here. I don't think that they really took this whole situation seriously enough. I don't think they took every precaution possible to ensure and protect themselves from this virus. As I said earlier in the video, they're saying he didn't get the second shot. I can't confirm that with 100% certainty, but I suspect that may be true given the circumstances of the situation and given Fury's history of just not following through with things. The guy's very erratic, and he does do things that aren't always the best things to do. He has shown irresponsible and negligent behavior in the past. He has shown that he has bad judgment and makes bad judgment decisions a lot of times. So I suspect that he didn't get the second shot. I believe that's true. And now saying that, because he didn't get the second shot and him not being fully vaccinated, should he have been going into that crowd of 73,000 people to watch that Billy Joe Saunders fight, not wearing a mask, knowing that he wasn't fully vaccinated, knowing that he had a fight with Deontay Wilder on the table, knowing that there was money on the table, not just for him, but for his team and for everyone else involved, people on the undercard, whatever. So was that responsible? I'm going to say no, right? So I can't absolve Tyson Fury and his team from responsibility here. I do think that they could have done a better job and made better choices and decisions to help ensure that he would not get COVID, right? And as I said, I'm going to read, for people who have come on late, I'm going to read the Mayo Clinic's claims here. They say, what are the benefits of getting a COVID vaccine? It said a COVID vaccine might, and I stress the word might prevent you from getting COVID-19 or from becoming seriously ill or dying due to COVID-19. Prevent you from spreading COVID virus to others. Add to the number of people in the community who are protected from getting COVID-19. Make it harder for the disease to spread and contributing to herd immunity. Prevent the COVID virus from spreading and replicating, which allows it to mutate and possibly become more resistant to vaccines. So there is strong evidence here, according to the Mayo Clinic, that obviously the vaccine is not 100% protective, but it does significantly lessen your chances of getting the virus, getting sick from the virus, and spreading it from others. So if you were to ask me, would his chances of getting COVID be significantly diminished and the likelihood of getting COVID be seriously lessened if he had both shots? My answer to that is going to be yes. So by him not having the second shot, right, did that create a problem? Did that create an environment in which he wasn't safe 100%? And did he put the risk and safety of others in jeopardy as well? 100%. So this is not only him protecting himself, but protecting himself and his family and the people in his camp. So by not getting that second shot, and again, it hasn't been confirmed with 100% certainty, but I'm gonna suspect that he didn't get the second shot. I can't say with 100% certainty he did or he didn't, but given his behavior and just given looking at the circumstantial evidence here and seeing how many people in that camp who got the virus, and then when you look at Deontay Wilder, who Malik Scott, I believe Malik Scott said it, or I believe Deontay Wilder said it in interviews that Wilder and his team were fully vaccinated, or just about everybody in that camp was fully vaccinated, and you don't see any outbreaks there. So just looking at the circumstantial evidence and the empirical data and behavior, as I said, behavior is proof. The erratic behavior of Fury, him just being irresponsible, him just doing crazy things and not really always acting in the best interest of himself and others, right? This is a guy who was suicidal at one point, and this is a guy who's so volatile. I tend to believe, and I'm gonna go with the notion that he didn't get the second shot. I'm gonna go with the notion that he wasn't fully vaccinated. I'm gonna go with the notion that he did act irresponsible and going into an event with 73,000 people without a mask on, knowing he wasn't fully vaccinated, knowing he had a big fight on the line, knowing that he could put himself in danger and other people around him in danger. I am going to say that he acted irresponsible. I'm going to say that he acted irresponsible, and he did not do everything he could to protect himself and others, and did not do everything he could to ensure that he would not get this virus. I'm going to have to hold him and his team accountable, right? I'm going to have to hold him and his team accountable. And I'm going to have to hold Bob Arum somewhat accountable, because he did say that he was fully vaccinated. He went as far as saying his whole team was fully vaccinated without knowing for sure, without having proof, right? Without having proof being shown. Now, when you get fully vaccinated, right, you get a card. You get a card that shows both the dates of your shots. So Top Rank, if they didn't have possession of those cards and they didn't have any proof of those cards, because we had to show people the card. We had to have proof. It was recorded and it gets reported to the state. So everybody knows who's fully vaccinated and who's not fully vaccinated. So, even Top Rank showed some irresponsibility here, because they should have done their due diligence to ensure that everyone was vaccinated. They should have been able to look up. They should have had someone on the staff, ensure that everyone was vaccinated, right? But they didn't. So you have to say, did Top Rank not know, or did they just put out false information? Or were they irresponsible here and not doing their due diligence to ensure that everyone was vaccinated by not having them show proof that they were fully vaccinated? Because we had to show proof that we were fully vaccinated, right? We have to have our card. We had to take a picture of our card or whatever. After getting both shots in this state, it gets reported. And it gets reported to the state, right? And we're on file as having the vaccine. So there's just a lot of questionable behavior that happened throughout this whole process, this whole ordeal, right? A lot of questionable behavior, a lot of irresponsible behavior, in my opinion, right? So I have to hold Bob Arum and Top Rank responsible too, because how could they go out there and say to the public unequivocally, with 100% certainty, that everybody in that team was vaccinated, right? And Fury does have a history of pulling out of fights. So again, we can't ignore the past behavior. I got to go to a comment. I'm sorry that I let it go past. I got to get G Funky's comment here. Beeb, why did TFM Lopez get a pass and the same thing happened to him the week of the fight? Eric and I did not give TFM Lopez a pass. I think other people may have, but Eric and I were highly critical, and we questioned why he didn't get the vaccine either. Now, he has a right to do what he wants to do. If he doesn't believe that, if he's against vaccines or whatever, that's fine. But he said that he didn't want to get the vaccine because he had asthma and this and that. That's even more of a reason to get the vaccine. I have asthma too, and when I got COVID, my asthmatic symptoms flared up. They were exacerbated by the virus. So if I could have a vaccine that's going to minimize those symptoms and protect me from those symptoms, then obviously I'm gonna want to get the vaccine. So I'm not going to question Teofimo Lopez's beliefs, but I believe that he should have got the vaccine. And in my opinion, I think he did the wrong thing by not getting the vaccine. But at least he came out and said he did not get the vaccine, right? It was not put out there that he was fully vaccinated, right? It was not put out there that he was fully vaccinated, and then news comes out later that he wasn't. So yeah, Eric and I were highly critical of Teofimo Lopez. Eric was too. He was like, "Oh, I can't believe that he would not get the vaccine with all this money on the table, knowing what's at stake." So yeah, we were critical of Teofimo Lopez, but not everybody has been as critical of Teofimo Lopez as they have of Tyson Fury, because Teofimo Lopez does not have a history of pulling out of fights like Tyson Fury does, right? And Teofimo Lopez said he did not get the vaccine, while in Tyson Fury's case, it was put out there that he was fully vaccinated, and it turns out that quite possibly he was not. So I think there's similarities there, H Money, but I don't think it's 100% the same situation. But to answer your question, I can't speak for everyone else, but Eric and I were critical and questioned whether or not why and whether or not Teofimo Lopez should have been vaccinated, and we both said that we believe he should have been fully vaccinated. So that's to answer your question there. Okay, what else do we got here? They need to use AJ's name more and more aggressively. Yeah, I don't know about what AJ has to do with the situation, but Maestro says I also have asthma and I got the vaccine. Yeah, a lot of people who had asthma got the vaccine. I know people with diabetes and a lot of comorbidities that got the vaccine, because again, it's better to get the vaccine to protect you from a disease that can exacerbate those symptoms, as opposed to having nothing at all for protection. So that's the thing. Given Quality says, then Pugmire added his propaganda for confusion. Yeah, I mean, again, if anyone has any information, I'm open to all opinions here. I'm not sitting here taking a side here. Well, I do lean on the side that I believe Fury and his team were irresponsible. I'm gonna, as much of a Fury fan as I am, I'm a huge Tyson Fury fan, but I call it objectively. I call it like I see it. And it seems as though, in my opinion, the evidence suggests to me that he was irresponsible here, and he did not take every precaution possible to protect him and himself and his team from this virus. I just have to be honest here. It doesn't appear to me that Tyson Fury and his team acted responsible here, right? And I'm disappointed in Bob Arum and Top Rank as well for not actually confirming and getting confirmation with 100% certainty from the team that Fury and his camp was fully vaccinated. And if I'm Tyson Fury, this is just me, I'm not letting anybody in my camp that is not fully vaccinated. And that's just it. I'm just not going to allow people who are not fully vaccinated in my camp. And I think promoters should strongly urge, can't mandate it, but they have the right to say, I'm not going to put on a fight. If I after this, Bob Arum's going to have to say to himself, you know what? I don't feel comfortable promoting fights with fighters who aren't fully vaccinated and their teams aren't fully vaccinated. Now that's going to be hard to enforce. It's going to be hard to make sure that it's happened. But I would strongly urge, if I'm Bob Arum and any promoter out there, I would strongly urge any fighter and anyone in a fighter's camp to get vaccinated, because there's, again, the potential for losing money is great in this situation, right? So all this money, you could say, oh, well, it doesn't matter. They're going to fight again and they're going to postpone it and fight it another date. But again, you still got to pay all the people. There's still money. There's still money that was put out there to promote this event, right? There was still money that had to be put out there to pay sparring partners, pay their lodging, pay their food, pay their expenses, whatever. Strength and conditioning coaches, everyone was working, right, and putting in time. And some people get paid, and like you got guys like the strength and conditioning coaches that usually get paid after the fight, right? The fighter pays them with their purse money, right? So you have all these people that conducted a training camp, like the trainers and strength and conditioning coaches and PR people, whatever, managers. All these people are working to promote this fight and get Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, get them ready for this fight. And now they all this time and effort and all this hours of work that were put in were all for nothing, right? So money was lost here. People did work here and they weren't paid. They weren't paid. So money was lost. So if I'm a promoter, I'm going to strongly urge that the participants in an event that I'm staging, that I'm scheduling to put on, I would strongly urge them to get the vaccine, and strongly urge their team members, the camp, to get the vaccine as well. So I don't think Tyson Fury did the due diligence. I don't think Tyson Fury did everything that he could have to ensure that he would not get COVID. I don't think Bob Arum did his due diligence to ensure that everyone was vaccinated. He went out and made a statement, and it appears his statement was incorrect. It appears that that Fury was not fully vaccinated. It appears that his team was not fully vaccinated, and it appears that there were a lot of members in the camp that were not fully vaccinated. So he went out there and said, and he's getting roasted for that right now. He went out there and said that everyone was fully vaccinated, and it turns out that the evidence suggests that they most possibly were not. So we got to be careful here in what we say, because we don't know with 100% certainty. But again, the circumstantial evidence and the empirical data and the behavior of Tyson Fury strongly suggests that himself and members of his team were not fully vaccinated. And it was reported by John Fury, came out and said that he believes one of the sparring partners brought it into the camp. So you have to ask yourself, were the sparring partners being tested, right? Were the sparring partners being tested before they were allowed to enter the camp? There's a lot of information here that suggests that Tyson Fury was irresponsible here, and I'm gonna have to be critical of his behavior in this instance. I'm really gonna have to. You're just going to keep going around in circles talking about vaccines. I'm gonna talk about whatever the fuck I want to talk about, because this is my channel. I didn't invite you here. So yes, I'm going to keep talking about vaccines 100%. I am going to keep talking about vaccines because I believe that's the reason why the fight got postponed. So why would I not talk about vaccines? The real reason for the fight is not selling. No one is interested in the fraudulent farce. They are going to lose more money. Nothing to do with that. Again, so you're suggesting that a doctor is going to lie about a test result and put his medical license on the line. Again, you can say that all you want, and that seems to be the case. That seems to be the cop-out answer. So all these NBA players that tested positive, they lose more money. They lose more money by not having the fight go through on July 24th than having the fight go on. July 24th. Because what about all that money they spent promoting the fight? What about all that money they spent for the people in the camps who were working, the sparring partners, the trainers and stuff like that? I love these people who just say that they lost money. Again, what access to the general ledger and the expense reports? Do you have access to the general ledger, and you have access to the expense reports that they just pulled out because they're going to lose money now because the fight's postponed. It's not a financially advantageous situation. Okay. Again, they barely spent any money. Um, that is a totally false statement. Again, you don't know what it takes to put on an event. Okay, you don't know what it takes to put on an event. There are expenses that are involved in promoting an event. Okay, so you can't sit there and say, um, Bruce Trampler said they lost money on both fights. Once again, this is the most ridiculous statement because Top Rank did not promote the first fight. PBC promoted the first fight. So how would Bruce Trampler know? Once again, Bruce Trampler said they lost money on the second fight. So once again, you don't know. One presser in a 300-day sparring partners. Again, you don't know because you don't have access to the money. You don't have access to the reports. You don't have access to the reports. So you don't know. You don't know, you know. So you're saying that a doctor lied then. You're saying that they lied about a medical report. That is malpractice. You're saying that someone lied on a medical report. You're insinuating that someone was paid off to lie and they're going to put their medical license on the line, right? These guys are getting tested daily, right? So you're saying that the results of the tests were falsified. That's fine. The people that have access are telling us they lost money. Can you, again, they lose more money by postponing the fight. Whether they're going to lose money on the fight or not, they lose more money by postponing the fight. That's all I'm saying. That's it. All right. So anytime a boxer gets COVID now, they're lying. Tiafimo lied. Tyson Fury lied. Everyone that gets COVID now is lying. Okay. It's fine. If that's what you want to believe, that's fine. Everyone's lying. So Tyson Fury's lying he had COVID. So you're not going to believe that, but you're going to believe that Mark Breland drugged Wilder's water, right? So Tyson Fury and Bob Arum, they're lying, but Deontay Wilder and his team are telling the truth about the gloves and everything. Again, this is tribalism. It's tribalism. You're taking a side, and that's it. So no doctor told us he had COVID. It's the press that said he had COVID. Okay. So how did they get the information that he had COVID? You have to be tested, and a doctor has to a doctor at a lab has to read the result of the test result. So that's the thing. So just explain to me how it happened. So anyone can just lie. I could say I have COVID tomorrow, and I don't have to prove I have COVID. I could just say I have COVID, and I don't have to provide any proof of the sickness to anybody. I could just say I have COVID. All right. If someone just explain to me how it works. If someone is accusing someone of something, then just try to explain to me how they're able to mislead, how Top Rank is just able to just say someone has COVID when they don't have COVID. I don't think it helps Top Rank at all having this fight postponed, because you think this fight is going to do better if it's in October as opposed to being in July, right? You're going to have college football season. You're going to have the football season going on, right? You think it's better? You think they're going to make money by postponing this fight? You think it's a better financial situation by postponing this fight to October? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't see how it benefits them by taking this fight from July and putting it on in October, because now they got to spend more money to promote the event. They got to, and now that they got to pay the camps, the people in the training camps get paid twice now for 2 training camps, right? I don't see it. They're trying to get out of the fight altogether, just like TFM. I don't know, man. The doctor's not going to tell you that, but you have to provide proof. Like the test results are getting provided to the commission. If you're sick, you just can't say you're sick and get out of a fight. You're contractually obligated to fight. Okay? It's a HIPAA violation to release someone's medical reports to the public. But Tyson Fury already released the documents himself. He already said himself that he has COVID. So it's not like someone took the medical information and released it against Tyson Fury's will. He volunteered the information, right? You can't just take a test. The test results have to be reported to the commission, right? They have to be reported to the commission. It's part of the protocol, because the commission is there to protect the safety of the fighter and others involved in the event. So in a situation like that, yeah, medical information has to be provided. You just can't say if someone tests positive for HIV, the commission has to know about that, because they cannot knowingly put on an event if they have that information, which could put the fighter and other fighters and people involved in the event in danger. So for the safety of the fighters and the people involved in the event, yeah, the commission has to know of any sickness, has to know of any test result that could put the fighter or anyone in the camp or anyone involved in the event in danger. So yeah, that's protocol. So they can't lie to a doctor can't lie to a commission and present a falsified test result. Why? That's why Tricia Morrison is suing the Nevada State Athletic Commission right now, because they believe that the commission did that in Tommy Morrison's case, that they did not, that information was not provided to the commission to say that Tommy Morrison had HIV. So that's why they're going through a lawsuit right now. And that's why a Supreme Court is hearing the case. So that's how serious this can be, right? You open yourself up to serious litigation if medical information is not provided or if it's falsely provided to the commission. So 100% absolute that the commission has to know of any issues with the fighter's health, whether it be COVID, HIV, any type of disease that can put other people in danger, has to be reported to the commission, right? They fill out a medical waiver. It's part of protocol, and they have to answer questions. Do you have anything? Do you have any medical issue? And they go through a list of things, and you have to check off yes or no, the medical questionnaire. Yeah. So yeah, you have to prove and provide documentation that you are medically fit, and you have to be medically cleared to fight by the commission's doctor. And you have to go through a list of medical tests. So if people are saying that a doctor is going to put his career and his license on the line and lie about a test result because they feel like, what does a doctor care about if the event makes money or not? He gets paid one way or the other, right? He's a doctor that's hired and paid by the commission to do the fighter's medicals, right? The promoter, in most instances, is paying for the fighter's health insurance, right? So you guys are going down a slippery slope here if you're insinuating that a medical practitioner, a doctor, is going to falsify medical reports. to help somebody. Because as I said before, right now, Trisha Morrison is going through a lawsuit, right? She's going through a lawsuit because she believes that the Nevada State Athletic Commission is saying that they have the medical documents about Tommy Morrison's positive HIV test. So, she has conflicting information. So they're both looking at documentation. She has documentation saying that the postmortem tests show that he didn't have it, and then they're saying they're coming up with documentation with the doctor who read the lab results saying he did have it. So that's why they're in court right now. So again, a doctor cannot put his career on the line, right? He could face criminal charges. He could have his license pulled. So that's that. No doctor stop saying that. Again, a fighter has to be medically cleared by a physician to fight. You have to go through a medical examination. And right now, COVID is added to that protocol. So for you to sit there and say that these fighters are not being tested for COVID and that the results of a COVID test could be falsified and there could be false positive, a doctor's going to put his career on the line and do that, you're going down a rabbit hole. You can't prove that. You can't say a doctor lied. Beating us out to focus on irrelevant things. We don't care about the commission and there's no doctor. Okay, so you're saying you're going to sit there and say, this is why you can't really argue with these people. I can't even, what doctor? There's no doctor. Yeah, there's a commissioned doctor. Dr. Elias Ghanem is a doctor for the commission. He does the fighters' medicals. Okay. Fighters have to be tested for COVID before they go in the ring. And if they have COVID, they are not allowed to fight. It's part of the protocol. That's the thing. So, all right. So the claims you're making is anyone can just become a fighter and they don't have to pass any physical. They don't have to go through any medical protocol. Anyone with COVID can get in that ring. Anyone who has any disease can get in that ring. Anyone who has a communicable disease, which they can pass on to others, they're allowed to get in that ring, and there's no liability at all. The commission has no liability. The commission doesn't have to do any due diligence in terms of the fighter's medicals. Doesn't have to ensure that the fighter is medically fit and cleared to fight. Okay, I can't argue with that, because that, if you believe that, then we can't even have a conversation, because you're telling me something that's 100% false. I can call up any commission right now and they will tell you that a fighter is not allowed to enter the ring until he's medically cleared by a doctor. People have been denied licenses because they failed pre-fight physicals. So that's that. Are they using Johnson & Johnson vaccine in Nevada? It's a single dose and it's less effective than Moderna and Pfizer. My cousin took that one. I don't know which one they're using. I don't know which one they're using, but all I do know is multiple people in that camp had COVID. And I suspect that someone came into the camp without being tested, without being vaccinated. And I just think that's a bad situation. I think that's irresponsible behavior. I'm not going to argue with anybody who says that a fighter does not have to pass medicals before fighting. Great job, Beeb. Are you able to check Coppinger's latest tweet for the real reason the fight's canceled? There is no real reason. There's a reason why the fight was canceled. There is no real reason. I'm not going. You can continue to go back and forth with me on this. I refuse to change my mind on it. I am not going to allow or allow myself or subscribe to the theory that a medical result of a test has been falsified. I am not going to subscribe to this theory and this conspiracy that a doctor willingly and knowingly falsified the results of a COVID test. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I do not think that a doctor would put his or her medical license on the line to do Tyson Fury a solid. I'm just not gonna. My common sense and my logic, right, will not allow me to believe that. I just think it's fundamentally, highly unlikely that would happen. I just can't. I can't subscribe to that. I just can't. So now we're deflecting to the tests being unreliable. Okay, whatever. Beeb, you only believe lies and propaganda until shit hits the fan. Then you pretend that was your stance all along. No, never did that. That's false. MStax can confirm that that's false because 6 months ago, I allowed him to tell me why he believes that Joshua Fury was not going to happen. 6 months ago, I thought Joshua Fury was going to happen. I had a conversation with him. I let him come on the channel. I let him spoke. I let him speak his piece, and he made good points. And because of the points he made, I went and started doing more interviews with Arum, and I did more research. And he helped convince me after that conversation we had on the show that Wilder Fury 3 was going to happen. So I changed my stance on that because of the conversation I had with MStax. He made good points. And because of the conversation I had with him, I dug deeper and I did the research. And Arum, I believe, stalled out the whole process because he wanted to put Wilder Fury 3 in front of a live crowd. That's just so that was my opinion. So for the past 5 months, that was my stance on that. So yes, I did change my stance on that, and I admitted I was initially wrong. Again, it's not. I don't have this fragile ego. I have nothing to gain here either way. I don't get paid by anybody. I don't get paid by any fighter's camp. I don't get paid by a promotional company. There's no incentive. I have a shitty subscriber base. I get shitty views. No one's doing me any favors here. I have no incentive to lie for anybody or to cape for anybody or to cap for anybody. No one's offering me any money. I make fucking pennies on the dollar on here. Right? So there's no incentive for me to take a side or lie for anybody. I'm telling you that I believe Fury acted irresponsible, and it's his fault. It's his team and his fault. So you can try to discredit me all you want. Don't debate me, the person. Debate the point. If you could show me evidence of a doctor falsifying medical documents and test results, then I will listen to you. I will hear you out. Again, whether or not Teofimo feels great or not, I know anyone can get COVID and still feel good. I don't know. I haven't seen Teofimo Lopez. I haven't talked to Teofimo Lopez. I don't know his situation. I can't sit there and believe that a doctor is going to lie on a test result. I can't believe that a doctor is going to falsify a test result. I can't believe that a promoter is going to lie about a test result because the results of a test have to be reported to a commission. They just can't cancel a fight, right? They just can't cancel a fight due to medical reasons without providing the results of the medical condition. You can't just go to a commission and says, hey, my fighter got COVID and not have to provide the results. You just can't lie and say you have a disease and then automatically a commission's just going to take your word for it. You have to provide medical documentation. These fighters are being tested regularly for COVID. Okay? And if there's a positive result, it has to be reported to the commission. Just like when someone tests positive for a banned substance, immediately the first person that gets contacted is the commission. The commission gets contacted before the fighter. So you can't just walk into talk to a commission, call up a commission and say, hey, doctors don't have anything to do with COVID tests. I'm going to show you the results of my COVID tests, and I left my phone. I'm going to go grab my phone, and I'm going to show you who actually read the results of my COVID tests. Here we go. Doctors have nothing to do with a COVID test? Okay. We're gonna leave that up there. Once again, somebody's gonna get embarrassed. Doctors have nothing to do with the COVID test. That's the remark. Okay. Doctors have nothing to do with a COVID test. Okay. Test results. Here's Beep's test results. Okay. COVID outpatient. Okay. Doctors have nothing to do with a COVID. What does this say right here? That's a doctor right there. Ordered by a doctor. Okay. And there's my positive test result. Positive for SARS, novel, right? COVID, right? Test has been authorized by an FDA under an emergency use EUA for the authorized laboratories. Okay. This gentleman has an MD at the end of his name. Doctors have nothing to do with COVID tests. Okay. Okay. Once again, that's my COVID test. Okay. So once again, I provide evidence while you do not. What does this mean? You could dress it up all day, but hospitals don't cure, they treat. No one said anything. Like, again, once they get proven wrong, a doctor has nothing to do with a COVID test. Really? So who's this doctor that ordered my COVID test? He has an MD at the end of his name. He ordered my COVID test, nasal strip, right? And they sent me the results, right? Positive for COVID, right? Showing you my information. Okay? Test has been authorized by the FDA under an emergency use authorization for use by authorized laboratories. Again, well, my COVID test was reliable because I was sick for 10 days and I had symptoms. I had a fever and I had all this thing. So once again, you're not going to get a doctor and you're not going to get a laboratory to lie and put their career, reputation, and license on the line just because of a fight. It's just not going to happen, bro. So doctors have nothing to do with COVID tests, right? Okay, so who was that doctor right there? Again, this is more information. If you get the flu, the COVID test is positive. Again, we're not gonna. We can't debate this shit, bro. We just can't debate this shit because now we're doing deflections. All right. So prove to me a doctor lied about this test. Doctors have nothing to do with COVID tests. Again, I just showed you that they do. This is a doctor. This is a doctor. Okay? MD. COVID. So you're wrong. COVID-19. Here's the result. Positive. Positive right here. You can't now. This is cognitive dissonance. You provide proof. You provide proof, and they're going to continue to repeat something because they just want to believe it. Anyone can just call up a doctor and say, "Hey, man, can you lie and just say I have COVID when I don't?" The doctor who lie about injuries all the time, motherfucker, we're getting brain damage. They keep it a secret for years, homie. Just stop with the BS, not saying they lied, but to pretend they can't. Again, the only way you can diagnose a brain injury, right, is the person has to be dead and they have to do an autopsy on the brain. You're making a statement and you're using a false equivalency. Brain injuries are extremely hard to diagnose, right, with 100% certainty because the brain cannot really be experimented on until someone dies and an autopsy is done. That's what happens to these football players. They die and then they do an autopsy on their brain to know exactly what they had. They did it with several football players. So don't say they lied. They have no way of diagnosing for certainty what the brain injury exactly is. You're going to compare a brain injury to COVID? It's very easy to detect COVID. It's very hard to determine exactly the cause of a mental disorder or a brain injury, right? So stop it. I 100% believe that Fury has COVID. Yes, I do. So the fight, what makes you think the fight is going to sell any better in October? Doesn't matter. Again, these are all deflections. These are all deflections. I think Bob Arum misinformed the public. We already said that. Bob Arum has lied in the past. But for me to sit there and say that a doctor is just going to openly lie on a test result and the commission is going to allow it to happen, it's just impossible. I think it's almost impossible for that to happen. You're saying that a doctor is going to put his medical career on the line and his license on the line. He could face possible jail time. The doctor that lied, the doctor involved in Michael Jackson's death, he's in jail right now, right? He's in jail right now because he lied. What is the argument here? I already said that Bob Arum misled the public. He already said Bob Arum misled the public. I already said Bob Arum didn't tell the truth. Did Bob Arum lie? Yes. My opinion, he lied. I have no problem saying that. I don't think a doctor lied, though. I don't think a doctor lied. I don't think the commission lied, though. I don't. I don't. I don't think the doctor lied, and I don't think the commission lied. I just don't. Okay. So they moved the fight because it was doing badly. The metrics wise, that's all. You have no information to support that. And even if you did, my question to you is, how is it going to do any better by putting it in October? By moving the fight, it's not going to improve anything. How is it? Well, Fury never came out and said he was vaccinated. Okay. Bob Arum did. ESPN is going off the information they got from Bob Arum. So I don't think ESPN lied. I think Bob Arum lied. Only one person I can accuse of lying here, and that's Bob Arum. Now, was it because he didn't know? Was it because he was given false information? Once again, it's hard to give Bob Arum the benefit of the doubt because we've caught him lying in the past, right? We've caught him lying in the past. So it's hard to give Bob Arum the benefit of the doubt here. We already said that, okay, but here's the benefits of getting the vaccine. The vaccine COVID-19 vaccine might prevent you from getting COVID-19 or from becoming seriously ill or dying due to COVID-19, might prevent you from spreading it. So it does give you the vaccine does give you a layer of protection as opposed to not having anything at all. So if you don't get vaccinated, then you're not giving yourself every chance to protect yourself from the vaccine, right? That's the thing. So again, he did not do everything possible that he could to ensure protection from this virus, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Again, so how is it going to change anything by moving it to October? Is it going to sell any better by moving it to October? How? That's just it. Guys, this is going on pretty long. I got to get out of here, man. I got to get my day started. Maybe I'll jump on later. This was a great discussion. I just don't think a doctor would put his medical license on the line. I don't think the commission would open themselves up to fraud. I don't think they would do that. I think the legal ramifications would be so great against a doctor or a commission for them to lie. I think they would be punished heavily. And I just don't think the benefits, I just don't see a benefit or a motive for them to lie about this. I think they would get in serious trouble. They would face serious legal ramifications if they were to lie on this. I just don't think a commission or a doctor would put their career on the line. All right, Beeb is out. Talk to y'all soon. Maybe I'll jump on later. Peace out, everybody. Have a great day.